Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and I'm your guide for everything Chinese astrology and Feng Shui. And this is actually a part 2 to a video that I did a little while ago. My battery died and I had to run through things and I was talking really fast and nothing made sense. So, I'm going to set down what I wanted to do before my camera died on me. And I'll set up so you guys can understand, okay? So, alright, so I was talking about how you deal with elements in your astrology chart that are either deficient or excessive, okay? It's not to say strong or weak, it's just that you don't have actually what you need, or what you have, you got way too much of it. And you need to kind of bleed off some of that excess energy and turn it into something useful. Okay. Now, a little bit of background. There is 5 elements in the whole Chinese system. They are earth, metal, water, wood, and fire. You can start anywhere on that circle. Okay, it's a circle. Sometimes it goes this way. Okay, and they also interact. It interacts in a 5-point star pattern. A lot of people think that when you're doing the whole Chinese thing, you're a devil worshiper. Seriously, go outside and talk to people that aren't like you, okay? Okay, so, whenever you're born, you are born with all 5 of these, but it's in different proportions. Now, let's say I run your chart and I tell you that you have 0% in, I don't know, earth. Doesn't mean you don't have any earth, it's just effectively meh, okay? But then I tell you you are 50% water. That's a ton of water. It's not that, you know, you're made out of water and all that crap, it's that the nature of water is going to be particularly prominent in who you are. Whether or not that's a good thing is different, okay? So how do we figure all this out? Well, we got a bunch of tables, and we first figure out the year you're born, the month you're born, the day you're born, and the hour you're born. Okay? And then we figure out the animal that goes along with that, and which one of the 5 elements that animal is sitting in at that particular time. Okay? For example, I'm in 2020 right now, if you're watching this in the future, and we're in the middle, we're coming to the end of Metal Rat. Oh, please let it be soon. Okay? Now, next year is going to be Metal Ox. Okay? Totally different. Totally different. But it's still metal. Okay? So, how do we know what element is the most prominent in your chart? Well, that is on the day animal. Okay? For example, I am born on Day of the Metal Sheep, so I'm a metal person. There are certain characteristics that are going to be out more prominently in me. Had I been born a day earlier or a day later, I could have still been metal, but I wouldn't be born sheep. I would be born the animal before sheep or the animal after sheep. I could be, now if I was born before, I could be earth. But I could also be water if born a day later. Okay? Totally different. Totally different personality. Okay? Now, in my chart, I am a normal metal person. I did a case study on this a little while back. Okay? And I have deficiencies in wood and fire. So, how do we fix that? Well, in the old days in China, before the Cultural Revolution, I'm not sure if they still do it now, from what I've heard they don't, is you pop out a mom, they'd clean you off and record the time, okay, you were born here, they'd hand that over to the astrology dude. And while mom's cleaning you off and wiping you and whatnot, and giving you your first meal, the astrology guy goes to his tables and he says, okay, we're born in this year, born in this month, born on this day, And this our animal and elements. Okay, this kid is born on a fire day. It is significantly deficient, and he's basically got no metal on him at all. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to give him, so you've got your family name. It is this one. That one links in with the metal, so we're basically good there. He's got a good amount of weight. That'll boost him up. Give him something inspired by fire. Okay, that way he'll have a little bit stronger personality and he'll have a little bit easier life. Okay, everything else is fine. Go nuts. Okay, so we have this name, and that would balance out the chart to a certain degree. Okay, then as he grows, or she grows for that matter, and the name starts to work with him and all of this, certain clothes, behaviors are going to be sought after by this person, and that may have some influences on the chart. Okay, how they behave, how the personality shifts around. That's how it was in the old days. So in the West, we can't modify our names that easily. Also, we typically don't use Chinese astrology in order to pick the name. We do have a few names that are linked with elements. Clay, for instance. Ashley. Those are the only ones that come to mind. I don't know many guys named Oak. I also don't know many women named Flower, although there are women that are named after flowers. Daisy, Iris, to name two. There's others, Lily, for instance. So we do have some of that, but they're named mostly because we like the name, not because it's going to balance out the chart. If it incidentally does that, hurrah! You know, I've also never heard of anybody named Sparky. Fire. Okay? Or gold. Or sheet metal. Not a thing. Okay? So, we can't really do that in the West. We can't rely on the name, but what we can rely on is clothing. Okay? One of the ways that you can easily balance out your chart is to pay attention to the colors you wear. Okay? So, let's talk about color. We'll start in water, because I'm wearing a lot of it right now. Black, blue, and purple is water. Greens, kind of sort of browns, excuse me, are wood. Reds, oranges are fire. And yellows, some browns, are earth. Also kind of sort of orange, depending on which side it leans on. Okay? And then metal is gray, shiny metal looking colors like gold and silver, duh. And also white is metal. Okay? So looking at this, I've got quite a few here. It's fairly balanced. I got a lot of water because of the black and also the blue right here. I've got a bunch of metal on it. Look at all the fire, you know, the red stripes, the red over here, and I got some wood right here. I just don't have any earth on it. Okay? And I actually like this one because, well, I'm Italian, so there we are. It's also pretty warm. Now, so you've done that, but your chart isn't exactly balanced out yet. Things are still kind of wonky. This is where the Feng Shui comes in. Okay? Basing it on your year animal isn't necessarily a bad idea, but it's not necessarily a good idea either. For example, I'm born in the year of the pig. And specifically the water pig right now. So because of that, I'm in my empty branch phases. I just got to make it through oxen. I'm solid. Let's hope nothing bad happens. Although, so what we do is we move certain things around based on the year. One of the major things that we do is you have some kind of little statuette or picture or something like that that appeases the Grand Duke, which is Jupiter. Now, if you are using a Chinese base in your Feng Shui, then you're going to grab a Qi Lin and put that in the circle of the room where Jupiter is sitting on that animal, and that is the year animal. Okay? And that is easily available online. Okay? So, from there, you figure out where 5 ghosts, 3 killings are found, and you place your fixes for those. And then you take a look at how the numbers are sitting. You can learn how to do this online, it's not hard, and you place your fixes therein. Okay? You want to minimize the bad stuff and increase the good stuff depending on what you want to do. Now, there's a couple of caveats to this, okay? Not all Feng Shui works for everybody, okay? So, you take your base element, mine is metal, and the elements that are going to negatively impact your base, mine is fire and wood, okay? Fire destroys, wood weakens, water kind of sort of weakens, but water for me, because I'm metal, is all about expression. It helps me make things, helps me be creative, helps me do stuff. Wood for me is about wealth, okay? So if I want to build wealth, I have to make my fixes out of wood, because wood to me is money, okay? If you are born on a fire day, wealth for you is made out of metal. A little bit easier to work with. So, if I am wanting to accentuate my wealth, then my fix has to be made out of wood if I'm a metal person. But if I'm a fire person, then my wealth accentuation needs to be made out of metal. Okay? So, just walking down to the local head shop and buying yourself a money toad that's red is not going to work. That's a fire money toad. It will not help you. Okay? For me, I would want a green one. But because I'm using a more Mediterranean base on my Feng Shui, then I'm going to want to use something from a Mediterranean culture that I like and build it there. That's why my wealth fix is a little statuette of the Roman goddess Fortuna. Okay? And I place her in my wealth zone and she migrates as needed. Okay? And part of her is made out of metal. That way it links to me, but some of the major aspects are wood. They're green, okay? Now, again, in my chart, I don't have a lot of wood in it, so I like having plants around me because I feel more balanced out. Imagine that. One of my major spots that I use is the east, which is the wood part, and I place in a lot of plants there. I always make sure that my east is an open window if at all possible. Otherwise, I make sure that I've got a west window and the light can stream in, keep the plants alive, and I'm happy. If I don't have that luxury, well, then things get complicated. And I have to use pictures, and it's annoying. And draperies, which is annoying. I had to do that in an apartment once, and that was bad here. Oy. So, now that's because I want wealth. Wealth is what your expression brings you. Expression is your ability to make money. Wealth is your ability to keep it. Okay? Now for me, fire equals power. This is how I interact with society. Okay? This is my ability to gain fame. This is my ability to have people at work like me. This is my ability to command other people in a professional and also a friend setting. That way I'm not, shut up, stupid. Okay? It's actually harmonious and we get along. Okay? I don't have a lot of fire in my chart, naturally. Now I am in the middle of a stem transformation, which is adding fire to my chart. So I don't necessarily need to accentuate it in my wardrobe, unless just a A couple of little accents here and there. You know, like, hey, don't worry, we're still here. Okay? Now, in my living room, I have a big painting of 4 phoenixes that I actually painted myself because I needed some fire in order to accentuate that aspect of me, and it's worked very, very well. Phoenix is, of course, the firebird. Now, in time, that might not be a good idea for me to have. The winds, as you would, will change. So I'm going to have to change out my fix. Okay? It'll become dated, it'll become not useful anymore, and the way you know this is you'll look at it and say, that is not the greatest thing in the world. Take it down, let's put something else up. Okay? Maybe I'll add some horses in because they're based in fire. I definitely will not add snakes because snakes and I don't get along. Okay? Just the way it is. Alright. So, now let's say that we are working with someone that has way too much water in their chart. They are so flush with water, they could probably quench the thirst of a weary traveler on their own. All right? Well, we need to bleed some of that off. And the way we do that is, very first of all, you stay away from metal and you stay away from water in your Feng Shui. A lot of the Feng Shui, a lot of the things you wear are going to be wood-based. So, ton of plants in the house, lots of green, and additionally you're going to want to add in some crystals, because earth, okay? Plenty of them lying around, many places. You can just go out, find yourself a geode, crack it open, hey look, Ma, all right, or you can go to a local head shop and buy some, okay? If you want to get really deep into it and say, oh, this one does this thing, have at. I've not noticed anything great and wonderful about that, so it's entirely up to you. Go nuts, okay? The reason being is wood, you pour water on trees to make them grow. So it'll take some of that natural water and progress it. It will also make you a little bit more creative as a water person. Fire for you is going to be wealth, so if you're a little bit lacking in that, feel free to toss in some bright lights, maybe some pictures of fire, whatnot. Don't go too heavy with this, it can cause some destruction. The earth absorbs the extra water, because what happens when you pour water on the ground? It sinks or evaporates. In Chinese lore that says, oh, the water's going away, the earth is destroying it. Okay? So, in so doing, that'll help balance out that chart and bleed off some of that extra water. That way, you can contribute a little bit more to the world. All right? Make sense? Awesome. Also, earth for you being a water person would be power. So if you don't have a lot of earth and you want to accentuate your presence in the world, then you have some earth stuff lying around, man. Wear yellow. That'll help you. I don't like wearing yellow. I think I look terrible in it. I hate orange, so there we are. All right. I hope that goes into enough detail, and I'm pushing almost 20 minutes on this. So, if you're new to the channel, hit that big subscribe button and leave a like, leave a comment. Feel free to share. That's awesome for you. Sharing is caring. And if you want to get in touch with me directly, feel free to visit my website at vigintmed.com. That stands for Vigorelli Integrated Medicine.com. You can go ahead and drop a line to me there. I'll be sure to get back to you if it's something I can help you out with. And if you got any questions about all this stuff, because this is where it gets super complicated, and I do not have the time to go into it. If you got some specific questions, feel free to ask, okay? Also, if you're into reading, I recently published a book. It is called The Hidden Race. It is about the Fae and what that would be like in our society, or at least an analog of it. I am working on an extended universe for it. There's going to be another 2 books most likely that I'm going to be writing. I'm actually almost halfway through book 2 as far as the writing goes, and I'm hoping to have that out in the next year to 2 years. So, I'll be back later, guys, with something else. You take care. Bye now. published a book. You can get this on Amazon. Cost you about 16 bucks hard copy. You can even get it soft copy for about half that. It's on Kindle. Go ahead, pop over to Amazon.